Welcome to She Sells Radio. My friend, I have got what I think will be an impactful and short episode for you today that's going to help you grow your sales. Now, it all stems from this one question, which is this: would you hire you? Would you hire you? I know we're kind of coming at you. I'm coming at you with the harder hitting questions today, but this is a little thing that most people don't stop and look at in their sales process and in their business. If they want to make more sales, they're like, well, let me just, do more outreach and connect with more people. And look, that certainly all makes a difference and it's important. But I want you, if you haven't stopped and really looked at this recently, I would carve out some time and do it right now as you're listening to ask yourself that question. And this applies whether you're a salesperson, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a sales leader. Would you hire you? If you're in leadership, you can look at, would you work for you? Right? Again, these are the hard questions that we often don't want to ask, but this will open up everything for you. If you want to talk about creating an opening for quantum leaps, creating a gateway for just much higher retention, much higher, much higher monthly sales, like look at this question. And so I would look at everything in your process and just sit down and do a real thorough, honest inventory. Again, no judgment. I never want judgment when you're doing this because that'll bog down your creativity. And that's not what the energy of this is about. I want you in that kind of exciting, expansive energy and creative energy of like, ooh, how could this be better, right? How can I make things better? And look at everything in your process, from the process of client acquisition to looking at how you run your discovery calls, right? To onboarding new clients, to client experience after they've started working with you. And ask yourself, okay, if I was going through this process, what would I love? What's already working? And then what would I not love? What would feel, ugh, what would turn me off along the way? What would make me say, I'm not going to be renewing with this person after the fact, right? Because when we just stop and have some self-awareness about this, and also are open to, just because a system or a process made sense a year ago, 6 months ago, it may not be what works in today's environment and today's climate. I was just reading an article this morning about people really expect instant. They expect things to be instantaneous these days. And, certainly on my end, it's like, we're not there yet with a lot of client, client and potential client outreach. I always do my best to respond within 24 hours, but we're a small team right now. And so I think if that's you, it's like at least setting the expectation appropriately on the front end for people that, hey, here's the expected response time. But as I read this, I was like, you know what, we got to step up and do better in that space too. So what's that going to look like? Because I know when I reach out to someone, I do want a relatively fast response most of the time. So how can we improve that on our end? So I'm looking at this too in my business. But so what would I love? What would I not love in the process that it's like to work with me? And of course, look at the results too. You got to look at the results your clients are getting. And that's something I feel so good about, that I can stand behind, because our clients are coming in and having phenomenal, big life-changing results really fast. So that part I feel so good about. And I also know that I always want to get better. So I'm always looking at, what can we put in place to drive even better results for our clients? How can we give more? How can we serve more? And so look at that too. Even the areas you feel like you're performing really well right now, what could be elevated? And I love asking this question. So this is what I would do next after you kind of run that assessment of how things already work, is breaking the mold. Forget how you're doing things right now and ask yourself this powerful question of, if there were no consequences or limitations, how would this process look? What would be amazing? What would wow people from a client experience standpoint, from a results standpoint, from a sales standpoint on the front end, even on the back end, right? With client offboarding, we're working right now in my company on systematizing and automating so many steps of the process, not taking away the personal touch, but just, there's frankly a lot of stuff that's been done manually as I kind of grew and scaled the company, with a really kind of me and some really incredible contractors who I brought in early on to help. But, it was me as a solopreneur doing this. And a lot of stuff was like, at least sending an email, at least remembering to do stuff. Well, guess what? That doesn't work as you scale an 8-figure company. And as for us, we're preparing to bring on a team of consultants later this year who are going to be able to go out and sell and deliver this content on their own. So I've been on this journey of automating so much of our inner processes and internal processes. And one of the things we're doing too is offboarding. Like, how do you make that an exceptional experience for people, right? Usually when a client leaves, the energy can be kind of like, bye. I mean, hopefully it's on good terms. That's always what we want. But we're really looking at how can we make that an exceptional experience where people feel so loved, and where even if it's not time for them to work with you anymore, they still want to refer people to you. They still talk about you because you made them feel seen and you made them feel important. And so those are just things on, again, just kind of sharing behind the scenes of what we're doing over here, to look at how can we, it's really about making people feel loved, seen, and important. That I think makes the biggest difference in all of this. And so once you map that out and, get your plan in place for what you're going to implement now, and it's not usually going to be an overnight type of thing. I've kind of mapped out on, in our company, what we're doing. And it's a process. It's a 3 to 6 month process of a lot of the things that we're upgrading. And then I know we'll put these things in place. We'll then have another list of things to upgrade from there. So it's continuous, but I would say do a quarterly check-in. A quarterly check-in as part of your quarterly review, if you're doing those, which if you're not, by the way, I highly recommend that you do. But would I hire me? Like, look at it again. Would I hire me? And I want to kind of go back to, if you're a salesperson listening to this, or you're a sales leader, maybe you don't control the whole process, but you control a lot of it. You control what it's like when clients connect with you. You control what a lot of the follow-up is like. You control the expectations. You control how personal you make things. So this applies regardless of what role you're in. So I want you to check in on that. Would you hire you? Let me know. Tag me on social. Put a comment, send me a DM. I'm at Elise Archer on all social. I want to hear from you. Would you hire you? What changes are you going to make as a result of this? I'd love to hear from you. And of course, if I can be of support, send me a message. My team and I are here to help. All right. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I will see you on our next episode of She Sells Radio.